Good evening, good evening, good evening, everybody. Welcome to BeoTalk 257.
The last one from Netherlands.
Yeah, the last one for a while. Uh, I have no idea how it's going to go from here, but
We'll see.
yeah, let's get into some shilling. Yeah, go to Skinny Play. I'll post some links and this promo code. Get 10% off and that sort of jazz. We're also on Substack, but I've been so goddamn busy that I haven't really been able to do much with that. So last week I didn't upload. I hope I have time for this week to upload as well, because I found out the best way to take my computer with all the other shit I still have left over is to take it all out of the case, put it the individual parts back in the boxes and leave the case here. So I'll have a computer, but it'll be literally in bits.
Oh my god.
Because I initially thought carry on, right? And then it's like, yeah, well, the processor is water cooled, and you can only take so much liquid with you, and I don't know how much liquid is in there, so it
Oh
can't
my
be
god.
carry on anymore.
Oh fudge.
So yeah, there's that. Go join our Discord if you haven't yet already. We're over 500, and it's good times, good fun. Be the first to get to know shit, and if you want to support the channel and or keep my proverbial light on, or want to help me buy a computer case, leave a super chat. It actually helps.
Oh god.
So yeah, it's gonna be fun times. Yeah, and remember to like and subscribe. Good one. That also helps. Liking actually also helps quite a bit. Because YouTube's algorithm is sort of like, well, we don't know if you just watch it. So
Mm.
yeah, please thumbs up. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything, but it actually helps quite a bit. And yeah, I'm still slightly panicking because
About what?
moving in general, right? Uh,
Yeah.
I told you just now, but last week I told everybody we put a bid in on the house and we got the house.
Congrats.
Yeah, so that's great. It's the thing is it's the house we like, but it's not exactly move-in ready. So we'll have to figure out if we want to decorate while we live there or do that shit before we fully move in. And
I would do it before you fully move in, man. Get an Airbnb somewhere and just
yeah, but at that point I may as well be there and my girlfriend stay with her mum.
yeah. But I would do it before all the stuff comes in, because how long does it take for the container to come across the water?
That's good, but in my situation now, actually, kind of not so great. Uh, they said the last few customers they did in the last month or two, it took less than 4 weeks.
So that gives you at least 3 weeks to do something in the house before.
Sure, but we wanted like a kitchen reno and move a wall, and that I can't see that taking less than a month. Because
Are you
if you
changing the
move the
floors?
well, you have to. If you move the wall, the wall is not on top of the floor. So one thing
Yeah.
leads to another, which means you have to do part of the ceiling as well because the wall is attached to the ceiling. It's not like just a wall that stops in the
No,
middle
I
of it.
know how much it is to move shit, especially if you don't want to remove the wall. Yeah, that's a reno. That's
Uh,
a floor, everything.
yeah, so you end up doing bloody everything, and it's like, oh
Yeah.
Christ.
Do I want to do that?
Yeah, and then there's a bunch of carpets in all the bedrooms except for one, which is tile. So it's like we might as well make the same floor throughout the whole house, right? Because I don't particularly feel like walking on carpet that other people have used for, I don't know, the last decade.
That, and it's also, yeah, the dust, and it's carpet's no longer cool.
So yeah, so then you end up doing everything and everywhere all at once, and it's like, God, this is a mess.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll figure out how to do that. But in the meantime, that means I have no clue when we'll be back. It may be,
A month or two, 2 months, 3 months.
yeah, I don't know. I would hope it's 2 or less because
Well, if Henrik can also help with the stream, then we can do it at least every 2 weeks or something.
yeah, because I could potentially have the internet there already, and
Yeah,
that'll be fine. But
you gotta put your computer together.
well, if Henrik streams it, I can do it from my phone
Okay.
or from
Yeah.
my iPad, right? Or both, or like that. That's fine. I mean, I'll put my computer back together probably in the first week, just because it's like moving it around in parts is stupid.
hmm No, that's fair.
So yeah. Steve's asked, "Do you have any B&O left?" Yeah, I have the portals and my pink E6s.
That's it.
And do you have anything else? Oh, E8s.
Such as headphones.
Yeah, and that's literally it. Yeah, E8 3.0s, and that's no, that's all. I have nothing else. I mean, I don't have a bed. Like, this is my bed currently, but I'm like taking all the cat hair off of it, and
Fudge.
because they
That's
wanted to
all.
keep the couch,
Oh
so
my
it's
God.
fine.
Yeah, you gotta deal with that. Yeah.
All the bedrooms are empty. There's just some clothes left in that came out of the washing machine, because I have like 3-4 sets of clothes that I like rotate and wash as I'm here, because that's all there's
Everything's
left.
packed.
Yeah, the bedrooms are literally empty. They're dusted, they're mopped, they're vacuumed, they're
Ready to go.
dust free, they're clean. I mean, the kitchen is basically empty. I have 2 plates, I have 8 forks, 2 knives, no spoons.
No soups. Oh, fudge. That's funny.
I don't even have a garbage bin anymore, so I have just an open bag sitting there.
The bachelor's way.
Yeah, and I have no pots. I have 2 pans.
Nice.
I, I don't have any condiments besides unground pepper and coarse sea salt.
Oh, shit.
So it's yeah, it's a thing. I mean, I have one TV left, but that one is going to my sister. But it's unplugged, obviously, and I have to
Yeah.
reset it because it was the one in the bedroom. But other than that, I am technology free. And after tonight, I'm gonna be dismantling this whole contraption here, and gonna be bubble wrapping it and putting it in a suitcase.
Nice.
And yeah, that's basically it. So there's nothing left.
So then let's talk about the elephant in the room,
The
Or-
B&O picnic basket.
or proverbial elephant in the room. I'm very impressed, by the way. Very, very impressed by this thing. It's very well machined, I gotta say. Like the sound, because we've had it for a while in the shop now, right? Obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Before the latest software came out on it, it didn't sound as good as it does now.
No, it needs some DSPing, because
It
out
was
of the box, the bass just runs wild.
so. I don't know what the hell is B&O gonna do with the levels at this point.
That was
Because
my
this
thoughts
thing,
exactly. Yeah.
this thing absolutely kills it acoustically. Absolutely kills it. And also that weird self-adjustment deal that is not available on anything else in the Mozart platform products other than the A5. It works very well. However, I think that it works in its own detriment against itself, because it is delayed in a link setup. So if I play something off a theater and I join the A5, A5 is behind.
Hmm.
If I join the A5 theater to the A5 theaters behind.
And does that change whether it's on battery or whether it's on
No
charge?
effect. No effect.
Huh.
Even if I join the emerge and theater perfectly synchronized A5s 50 milliseconds behind. I would guesstimate about there, if not a little more. But
Huh.
no, it's not close to balance. It does not have nowhere near as much bass, Edward, as balance does. But it's funny because like I'm in a one room studio per se, and my girlfriend was laughing at me yesterday because I moved it about 17 times. I moved it everywhere in the house, like to see how it adjusts, right? And it takes about, I think, 10 to 15 seconds. And I don't know if like if you've been around Lab 28s for enough time, then I don't know if you ever heard it, but when you first plug them in and they power up, they go like it's almost ultrasonic beep that
Mm-hmm.
they emit. And
Yeah.
this thing does the same thing, and I think that's the radar that measures. Like it's ultrasonic to you. I don't know, to a point. I guess I can hear it because I'm weird, and I think that's how that thing measures itself. But it does adjust very well to where you put it. Especially like I put it on the bed on the mattress, right? That eat the shit out of it. Like as far as the acoustics go, it really took a little bit of time, and then it came back. But the way it does it, it pauses for a second, like the split second pause, and then just like the when you lay down the level, it changes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It does the same thing, but it does work very well. It holds the charge like a promise. But yeah, I like also the fact that now in sound you have front and omni, which is not the sound is nothing, does nothing on level or emerge, right? It's just none. So this one does it, does the front and omni, and I like it more in the omni mode. If you put it against the wall and you put it in the front, then the back speakers still work, but they basically fire as a left and right channel, and the center with the bass is the center of the speaker itself.
Yeah, I like it a lot. And when I first heard the price, which is a while ago now, because this is one of these B&O's worst kept secrets,
Mm-hmm.
I was already curious, like, what are they going to do with the levels? Because they're very close in price. I
But the
like I like
level
the I like the level a lot. Like it's
but level is more or less, in my opinion, a very domestic product. This, like, if you take a level in the park, it will never stand upright because it just the design of itself does not allow it, right? Because it
yeah.
just sinks the back feet and tips over. Where this is a little more rigid, it's definitely heavier, but it's more convenient to carry with the handle. And the handle is by no means cheaply made. Like it is very nicely made and very well thought through handle. Like it's not, doesn't cut into your fingers when you carry it. You know what I mean? Like it's perfect. I guess the knuckle width. I don't know what you would call it,
Rounded
but
edges and everything. Yeah.
yeah, it's very nicely done. Let me just put this down here so we can see it better. So it's very nicely done. You do have a microphone slider on the back to turn it on and off. And I don't know if that also disables the radar and stuff as far as the compensation. And then obviously the USB-C. The grills are extremely easy to change. I was surprised myself. And yeah, I obviously charges, so that's another benefit to it comparatively to level, right?
Hmm.
So yes, it does eat on a battery, but if you use it as a, let's say, a bedroom speaker, fudge, like it's got all the built-in timers as all the true image, all the Mozart platform has. So you can set your things up that it wakes you up. You have your phone on top of it, so it charges it overnight. What's not to like, man? It's a really nicely done product. I do believe they need to address. I don't know how they missed it, but they need to address the linking or network link, because obviously we've sold one on the 27th. We actually delivered the first one to a client, and oddly enough, that one was synchronized.
Well, Steve says his is.
So I don't know what is up with mine or the shop's one, but
Is it the
I'm
same
gonna
in both
factory reset.
networks?
What do you mean? No, No, there's something wrong here.
But if you take that one to work, it's in sync, or
Yes. So I don't
so
understand
it
why
may be
it's
your network somehow.
that's policing it. That's weird.
Yeah.
But what I've never done, I should have factory reset it when I brought it home. I just moved it to my network, so I don't know if that carried some nonsense with it. So you know what? Let's do it now.
I'm looking at the tech specs, and I basically have the answer to the question I was going to ask you. Thinking of that wooden handle, do you think it
Hmm.
would survive in Calgary? And seemingly, according to the tech specs, no.
You know what? It probably would if you brought it in like in the middle of a summer, because the winter is the driest.
Yeah, but it says operating humidity range is 30 to 70, and when you get down to the low 20s or even in the 10s, when you were
Okay, I'm
there.
gonna reset the factory settings.
I mean, when I was in Wisconsin, was it a month ago now? God, was it dry there? I mean, it's what, it's a few hundred miles from each other in like north south, but it's that sort of different climate just made me think like with that much wood on it, it's a thing you have to, I guess, sort of take into account.
Hmm. I'm
Also,
factory resetting it.
this Qi charger is way better.
It charges quick, man.
But
I
not
put
just
my
that,
phone on it like it was,
the internal battery is 9,000 milliamp, right?
which helps.
Because with the BeoLit 20, it was basically the same size as an iPhone. So from full charge, if you needed a phone charge, it's like 50-50. It's like you charge one 50% and the other one drains 50%.
Hmm.
This is what, 7 charges of 7 phones? I mean, that's fine.
Yeah, dude, it's a very nice product. I really like it. Oh, you bastards!
I mean, I really like the
That's
level, and the level is an excellent product, especially when it's on the wall. But I have already so many speakers that I kind of don't really know what to do with the level on the wall. But in the next house, I'll have a pool and probably a table and chairs and stuff outside.
hmm.
So if I want to drag a speaker outside, I have two options: a level which is guaranteed to fall over as soon as somebody touches the table, or you lay it flat. But I kind of don't like how it sounds when it lays flat on its back. You can go with an A5, the picnic baskets, which sounds great and you can put it wherever, or you go full Hendrik with Celestials outside. So, I mean, for sure, the more economical way is to take this outside.
Hmm.
And I bet you also in terms of pricing and wife acceptance factor, this rate's much higher than saying, "Hey, honey, what about putting speakers outside in the ceiling?"
Hmm. Well, it's much more portable too. Like that's what's see. Like if you're meant to do it for the outside, I would definitely go with the light color because that's gonna save you. Well, obviously, black attracts heat a lot, right? So.
Yeah, it's covered though outside, which is for us good.
Hmm.
I kind of want them to have a light oak version with the black frame. I kind of think that would look great.
The which?
Like if you get the darker aluminium version, and then instead of this darker oak, have it light oak. Maybe
Hmm.
not light oak, but more like Beolab 18 color oak, right? Because I think that that combo could look really good.
This is not a copyrighted music, right? When it's in a
No,
select
no,
mode.
no. This
There
is
we go.
just a general B&O intro music. You set something up.
I wish you could play that either like in a service mode or something, because it's somewhere in there, obviously.
Yeah.
that if you want to test something, because it's a tone that like it's got all the stuff you need in it as far as the dynamics go. It's not too offensive, and yeah, I think they should have it available. Let's go to
I mean, the A1 for an outside garden speaker is fine, but where like the house we just bought, like where you sit outside with the pool is well within Wi-Fi range.
mhm,
And then you're not using your Bluetooth or your phone, and you can still do whatever, right? It still operates off the network,
mhm.
which is kind of how I like it. I mean, there's also a massive sliding door, so I guess I could do without this. Just open all the sliding doors and look like 50s to 70 or something, and then go outside.
No, you need that. I also wondered because I played around with it. Like I had the app open. I don't know how the that radar tracking works. That it always moves the sweet spot to you. Obviously, like when you move around, it's not just gonna like aim, right? It needs to calculate, I guess, where you
Like
sit.
legs come out and
Little crab, fudge. But it does sound. I don't know. Like I don't know for what reason, but our shop sounds weird. It doesn't sound good in the shop. Just I guess the way the shop is set up acoustically, or built the way it is. But having it here in the house, man, it really shines. It really shines. Like the bass is nice and clean. It goes very deep, very deep. It goes deeper than it does on the Violet 20. That's 100%. It's not as obtrusive though as Violet 20. Like it's more Violet 20 is more boomy. This is more refined. And I don't know, to some people's ears, that are more bass heavy people, then this wouldn't sound good out of the box unless you go to the Beosonic and you adjust the frequency, tilt, and go to your bass settings and do that. But it sounds great. It sounds really, really good.
the Beolit does. I mean, the Beolit without DSP or anything falls on its ass a lot less soon, though.
Hmm.
Because I heard it without the DSP and stuff, and it was like 70% volume, and it was on certain bass heavy tracks, it was like, okay,
No.
this is pulling back, this is not good.
Hmm.
Uh, but the Beolit, you could just crank it up and it would go. Yes, it doesn't go as deep, but it was louder, or at least
Yeah.
perceptually. But the the Beolit is not as refined, that's for sure. But each have their kind of pros and cons a bit.
Hmm.
I mean, also the Beolit is quite literally half the price. Uh, so if you ding
Well,
it
no,
or
this is a
whatever,
much nicer presentation of the Beolit, and I like the fact that I don't remember on the old one, if or the new ones, if you pull the cord up, or is it a USB-C anymore? I don't remember. I don't play with those anymore.
it's
It's kind of
USB
past that.
C.
So
Everything's USB C, which is kind of nice.
so I like that. I like the idea of this thing. It's a very well done product, I must say. They've done a great job at it, and
Yeah, I
it's
like
got
it
a
a
very
lot.
nice sex appeal. It looks like like a little beer fridge cooler type of thing to carry. It looks like a picnic basket, honestly. It
Yeah,
really
that's what
does.
everybody dubbed it on the Discord. Like within a day, it was like the picnic basket launched.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a nice product, I gotta say. And what I like, the grills are removable very easily, and they're very nicely done. Like they are very nicely done.
Is it real wicker? I think it
Yeah,
is.
bro. Yeah, I don't know how the heck they did that, man. But that's gotta be. I don't know if it's handmade or machine made, but if it's a machine made, then yeah, still insane. But yeah, like look at the juice on it, right? Like there's a big woofer in there. So that's the frontal.
I mean, yeah, there's a reason it's not in the Beolit range. It is a Beosound, and especially like that it has the whole network link. I mean, you can still
Yes.
do the whole Bluetooth thing. It's not
And then
mutually exclusive.
besides. So yeah, it's a good packet. In Omni mode, it sounds crazy because you can just turn it like that, and there's no difference to it. But yeah, it's a very nicely done product.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna get one or maybe two. It's cheaper
I
than.
haven't. There was a question. Sorry to interrupt. There was a question in the chat to see if somebody's tried it on the stereo mode. When we got them, the software wasn't ready for it. So I tried, and like I had a hard time even setting this up with the room sweep. It didn't do that for me till the software came out, and the software that came out to fix it, because at the end of the day, it didn't matter because people weren't supposed to see it anyways. It was just more or less for us internally to play with. The software came out on April 25, and it was released on 27th. So basically, the first time I've ever seen them out of the box was ours updated, because I updated it that day when I knew the software came out, and it changed the acoustics on it. It changed a lot of things. A lot of bugs were fixed right away, and yeah, and everywhere I did it, I did a job with one of my colleagues that we went to Quebec City and replaced Beomaster 6500 with a pair of Pentas for a set of lap 28s, and replaced the old 3500 in the dining room for a balance, and put an A5 in the kitchen. That was on the 27th of April. That was the day that it was released. So those were the first people that actually got the
That's
thing.
a 35-year jump in tech.
Oh my God. And these, like I'm saying, the guy bought it after he finished university 35 years ago, right? So it was epic. Like, just to hear them, wow, right? Because like if you put 28s to pentas, it's a completely different animal as far as accuracy goes. Yes, the pentas will have more bass any day of the week, but they won't be as clear. So, and also the balance in the to replace the 3500, Jesus Christ. So yeah, that was a great job, a great setup. I actually do have pictures, so I think I can send them to you on WhatsApp,
Or email them to me, please.
or that would work.
Yeah, because otherwise I just have to email them to myself anyway, because my
Oh
phone is
yeah,
not plugged into the
it's
PC.
fucking stupid. No, let's do that. Uh, so yeah, but I'm really happy with it. I'm really happy with the thing, man.
I mean, I always thought they made the balance kind of the way they did it for the wife acceptance factor. But the first time I saw this, it was like, yeah, they got this right. Because this will be agreeable to just about anybody.
Hmm.
Because it's not hard angled super masculine, but it's also not so soft and round that it's super feminine.
Hmm.
Which I think
Well,
is,
the black one is pretty masculine if you think about it.
yeah. But if you put the wicker and the lighter oak handle on the black one, I bet you it'll look way different.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very nice product. I also like that. I mean, it has just enough physical depth that you can just about put it anywhere, and it's not so big. It's I mean, it's
Hmm.
smaller than a Beolit.
Yes, it's narrower.
Yeah, but it's not so narrow that you're like gonna like poke it and tip it over.
No, this is pretty sturdy. It's yeah, you can put this on the grass and not worry about it's gonna be tipping over like let's say level would. Like at this point, the level, the only thing that it has going for itself, as far as the design presentation is concerned, obviously the thickness and the nice glass display for the buttons, right?
Yeah,
That's the only sexy that it has at this point going for itself. Uh, when it comes to the performance, I had them played side by side, and my girlfriend was like, "Oh my god, the picnic basket sounds much better." And that comes from a lady that doesn't really like. She is just being dipped into the world of BNO. Actually, yesterday we went out to the shop and I played her the 50s. Blew her head off. It was wicked. It was wicked, bro. It was a good experience.
Yeah. No, I bet. I mean, speaking of 50s, God, I hope one of my 50s is okay with shipping.
Why?
Because I told you, right, for insurance purposes, they had to put it in the box, and how that styrofoam and legs go together. They couldn't get it to fit in one go, and he started to press, and he was putting a lot of pressure on the tweeter, and you saw it like dip down below the aluminium. It was like, and I stood there next to him going like, "Oh, dude, stop!"
I would too. I would have broken his hand, I guess. But
Uh,
yeah, I didn't know.
and it's like, I better hope this thing still moves up and down when I get it on the other side. Jesus. I mean, one thing the level does have is like not fully proper stereo, but it is left and right, whereas this is sort of an amalgamation of the
Hmm.
bass is shared by left and right, and so is a lot of the treble.
Hmm.
So the level has its qualities, and also I think most people don't listen to the level in the longitudinal way, which is sort of the BeoLab preset, which sounds quite
Hmm.
different than on its side, like normal.
Yes. Yeah.
So they're hard to compare. But I do wonder, like these prices are so close together strategically in the product segmentation. Like any dealers out there, I hope you don't have like 20 levels in stocks, because
It's gonna be a hard sell for the level.
yeah, unless
It's
you
more or
have
less a very
customers with a
specific,
yeah, this is
very specific placement issue, or not even placement. They just they don't have enough shelf, I guess. That's one thing that I do miss. That there should have been a solution introduced from the box with the charger that it comes with. It shouldn't have been USB-C, but I think it should have been more magnetic because if you pick it up, you are risking to rip out the connector right out. That's my only negative feedback against this. Because yeah, if it's plugged in and you pick it up, that connector, because this is a thick ass aluminum chassis, bro. Like this is not gonna give, but the connector is gonna get effed up. So
yeah,
that's
or
one
the
thing that
cord
that,
is
that
gonna
should
get
have
stuck in
been.
there.
Yeah, that's one thing that should have been thought of differently, in my opinion. I know there is no room to put anything anywhere because there's no real back and front to it. So
I
I
th-
understand, but I think there still should have been like some sort of a magnet connection and keep the USB-C as a line input and service or whatever or a USB-C to network adapter for if you really want to hardwire it because it is at the end of the day a Beosound product. So
I think you can buy those cables aftermarket, where you have like the sort of
oh yeah,
USB-C
the
thing.
magnetic click on, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but again, that's aftermarket, and depending on how much you're willing to spend for that, I mean, at some point, it's a price issue, right, for B&O, because I could
Hmm.
easily see that adding 50 to €100 to design that in, and then you're at a different price point where you may not want to be,
Hmm.
because then you're directly competing with the level at the same price point as well.
Yeah, but that's what's cool about the level, that it has that thought process involved in it, right? That the charger doesn't look too awkward, the back port connector doesn't look too awkward at all. It just works. It works properly. Because if
Yeah.
it's on the battery, it shuts itself off after 15 minutes of unuse or not being in use. So it kind of loses that link thing. But I somewhat surprised that my battery was charged. Now it goes down, but it keeps itself on. It's not like level when it turns off. This boots up completely different and much quicker.
Maybe they learned from that, because
I think they did for sure. Because yeah, it's been more than 15 minutes since I've touched it, and it still shows up online.
well, that's
So,
kind of good.
mhm.
Uh,
And even the buffer, like I don't know, like it goes so quick. It just goes so quick.
Jumbo Crunch was saying, okay, somebody mentioned on Reddit the
Plug it
woofer
in.
is the same size as the Beosound 2. Yeah, 5.25 inch, which is B&O uses that space, that size in a lot of things. It's in the balance as well. It's in the
Yeah.
17s as well. It's in more stuff than that. It's a pretty standard size they use, but they're not
Hmm.
exactly the same spec. I mean, the Beosound 2 is louder, but 1 hertz less deep. So do they compare? I mean, here it says the A5 goes to 32 hertz. Maximum bass output is 80. The Beosound 2 says it goes to 33, but maximum bass capability is 84. And that
Hmm.
4 dB sounds like little, but that's perceptively quite a bit.
That's right.
Like every 3 dB feels like twice as loud or something. I forget what the standard sort of uh, rule of thumb is for that. So
No idea.
they compare, but also don't forget that the left and right drivers on a Beosound 2 fire sort of that way, and you have the acoustic lens on top, which gives it that airiness.
Hmm.
But we're also comparing now a static speaker versus portable one, and then that's before you get into the material cost of the aluminium on the outside and that sort of thing. It's not like for like.
No, definitely not. This was built for a different purpose. This would be more or less comparable, I guess, to Beosound One, if anything. That's on, on its own battery type of thing that you can move it about. And yes, acoustically, there is no chance the Beosound One sounds better. It looks better, but it doesn't sound better.
Yeah, and we're talking about the original one with CD player. Not the Cone Beosound one.
Yeah, that one I would compare, but that this would school it still
Yeah.
comparatively. Like the Beosound ones sound good, but nowhere near. We actually have one that came from repair, so I'm gonna try it in the shop on Tuesday.
The Beosound one doesn't even come close to my Beosound 2. I had both. I have a Beosound 2 now, but I had a Beosound 1 for like, I don't know, over a year and a half or something. And it was a
Hmm.
very good speaker and it sounded nice, but the Beosound 2 definitely is better just by separation of it being a two-way speaker versus three-way.
Yeah,
A lot more power too, and
more clarity.
yeah,
But then again, that's to me that the Beosound one is a bathroom speaker. It's a side office. It's a something that just sits like in the kitchen where it doesn't really matter how good and refined the sound is when you have water running and you're cooking and fan going and all that stuff. You just want to kind of hear music of some sorts. So same thing for the showers. You don't really listen to music for being audiophile with ears fucking full of water.
I mean, yes, the Cone Beosound 1 was portable, but I was always so afraid to move that thing because
I was afraid to move it till I changed my chassis from the brass tone to the piano black, and I took it apart and I saw that fucking zinc thing that like that whole lens and the whole knob holds on to. Like I don't know. We've seen that picture of the guy that was busking for money with the Beosound 2. That was
yeah,
all bent, like the top lens bent. That must have dropped hard because that thing is very sturdy to carry. Like it's not something that you're gonna do like swinging in your hand like that. That's nonsense. But you could. But it's just like if you grab it by the back of the neck, right? Then you don't really leave fingerprints on it, and you can just move it about, and your hands fit or finger fit perfectly into that acoustic lens dip.
if you're probably the average Xennial, as in like under 25 years old, something like that, you're probably most males are quite light nowadays and they're coming up. You can probably stand on it and be okay.
Oh God.
I mean, it'll probably handle 80 kilograms or something like that. 65 to 80 is somewhere where it bends.
Yeah, I don't know where, but I'm
I mean,
not trying it on mine.
I'm over that, and I will definitely bend it. So-
But yeah, I never had an issue with moving it. I was more worried about dinging it, right? Because if you're picking it up, and for me the issue was unplugging it, because then you're risking the edge of the bottom, right, to touch the granite countertop, and granite doesn't really give much to aluminium. So then
yeah,
you
same. And then you had those plastic inserts underneath, where if you grab
yes,
those too hard, you could
they
bend
pop
them,
out. Yeah, they pop out the screw covers. Yeah,
but they could also break.
that's right. That's why I have a few of them in my back.
Yeah, and most dealers apparently can't get those. You have to send the thing to Germany to get it fixed. You can't get it as a spare part generally.
I ordered it when it was still available
Yeah,
back in the yesteryears. That's silly. But yeah, I got one or two left somewhere in the storage locker.
but if you, I mean, that aluminium is, I mean, it's aluminium. It's not that hard. So if you, I don't
If
know,
you're not
walk through a
careful with it,
doorway or something, and you're not
think,
really, yeah,
oops,
like, oh, that's expensive
it'll
and
cut
a
into the
shame.
door frame if it's wood, but it also F up the speaker.
Yeah. So I was never too keen on moving it, and that's ultimately why I ended up switching to Beosound 2. Just
But the good alternative in moving it about was that the pot kettle, right, or the kettle charger adapter, that made sense. I never bought one, but I'm still
no, nor did I, but it was a
considering.
hundred something euro.
I know tabarnak, it's just what it is, but I'd still get it now. Well, it really depends if I'm gonna keep the Beosound one or I'm gonna get rid of it. Because more and more now, I have no reason to like retain ASC products in my network link setup. Because once I get to Florida, the theater stays, so the theater is already going to be hooked to 90s, which is all on Mozart. The only thing I'm thinking about is yeah, so this is where the pentas were, sorry, as far as the picture is. I render acoustic measurements, bro. All those pictures have to have like they have to be bumpered because they all rattled on the wall. It was hilarious. Fucking hilarious.
Well, it looks like a very classic interior, and it's
Oh yeah,
surprising
well
how.
these people are like in their mid 70s probably, right?
No, but I mean, as in stylishly classic. Like it's not old. That's not what I mean by classic, right?
No, but don't they look elegant in there?
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. Like these are hyper modern speakers, as in they're like less than 2 years old, and they look at home there.
Yes. And the funny thing is we had smoked oak and light oak, uh, or oak, because
Mm.
honestly I don't know why the B&O has light oak and smoked oak, because even the sample pack that they showed us, it's like literally one shade of the wood different, which you could honestly take and emerge out of the box and look at the like where the bookmarking is joining on the side panel. You can have both of them, and they're light oak, and it's an oak panel, so like it makes no sense really. Like it should have been much lighter, like almost like maple bleached oak.
Yeah.
But the smoked oak way too dark, and I didn't take a picture of the smoked oak because we were just swapping them back and forth. And then wife ultimately decided, because they said, listen man, you should go with the light one. She's like, no, we were saying about the dark ones because they probably look better with the furniture. And once we put them together, no, oak stays, bro, and it did.
I mean, even the side table and the lamp, it looks classic, well maintained, nice, proper
Yeah,
couch.
it's a clean house, absolutely clean house, and like there's a lot of gold accents in there, so it worked very nice, right? And
Yeah.
yeah, exactly, Steve. Like the curtains with the gold accents and those gold ribbons and stuff. Like she had it already worked out before we even got there, bro. So I just knew that yeah, light oak stays, and yeah. So behind that window is the pool, and that's where the A5 will reside on the outside when the grandkids are around. The best I could do with wire management. They are hardwired and interconnected between one another.
Good.
We didn't piss around this time around at all. I don't trust them being on Wi-Fi.
You have too many issues wirelessly stereo pairing them anyway.
But what I found the best practice of installing BeoLab 28 is obviously put them together, plug one in, hardwire it to the network. If you don't have an option to hardwire to the network, carry the fucking thing where there is wired internet, or bring a long enough cable that you can supply internet. Set it up on the app. You can I prefer to use my phone, so I always use access control. It works like a charm now. It doesn't like wipe out my account. Like when I leave, I leave. My stuff repopulates back with my account. It works awesome. You go in, you set up the first damn speaker all the way to it. If it asks you to pair another speaker, it says later, and you unplug it after. Like you set it all up, you wait for the test tone, do a room sweep, shut it down. Same process for the second speaker, shut it down. Then you plug them all in, you turn on whichever one you want as a primary. You turn that sucker on first, you plug it into mains, and give it about 20 seconds, and then plug in the secondary speaker. Then you have the boot sequence offset by 20 seconds, so you bought yourself enough time to run through the app. And by the time you get to the point where it wants to pair the speaker, you just go look for another speaker, because this one goes boop boop, that it's online, finds the speaker, harmonizes the speakers for like 10-15 seconds, whatever the process takes in the app. Then you can run the room compensation again. Bob's your uncle, man. The speakers will never come offline. I guarantee you that.
They should
Unless
put
you
that in a bloody
have to.
manual.
That's what I had found works the best in setting up 28s if you have to set them up. Wired or wirelessly, like you have got to follow the process, and this is what it looks like when it's being done. So the first speaker was already done. That was the secondary that was getting the update.
I mean, it's not a problem if you use them on PowerLink. PowerLink wired just always works. It's fine.
Oh, there's no debate. There's no debate on that.
But if you want to use them as a streaming endpoint, there's so often where I've had over the year that I had them that they would drop out for no apparent reason.
Mm-hmm.
You come back half an hour later and it's fine again.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
just like they got in the arguments like, fuck you, I'm not playing the left channel. What?
Yeah. And it's like, but I didn't do anything. How did you fix yourself? Like, what's going on? This is
they
so
made
weird.
Peace, they made up. Like, you bastard. Like, yeah, I don't understand that. And we have them hooked up in a number of ways in the shop that over the time that I've been there, especially now with the theater, we put them on the WISA. And I don't know, I find them a little bit underwhelming. Like, you have to really juice them up for the rears for some reason. And more I'm playing with the theater, more and more I'm really beginning to agree with Henrik's statement that, you know what, that microphone nonsense is good, but you gotta do your setup yourself. You gotta tune it yourself. You have got to tune it yourself. So to all the installers, and my bad also, because I believed in that system for the first trial and beginning of it, it doesn't work as good as I thought it does, because I've created my separate from scratch groups, and it just works better.
Yeah, I mean the microphone is a pretty good indication. It's pretty set and forget if you're okay with the sort of basic sound. You can still optimize it from there.
Mm-hmm.
But if you just, I don't know, if you have a simple surround setup and you're not too fussy, then it's fine, right? But I mean, the three of us
coming from the 90s obviously very much hurts, right?
Yeah.
Because the accuracy that you're looking for, it can't possibly be there. So, in vocals, yes, but I also found that, like, I started turning down my center channel basically to a 5 dB difference between the front right and front left on the theater. So I go down to like -2 on the center, and I put the left and right to +3, and then I juice up the side firing speakers to 6 dBs. That's Kareem's recipe that he's found out in the shop, and I tried it here in my house, and it actually works. It works better here because of the room constraints that this has to, or the limitations that we have here, versus there's barely any room constraints in the shop because it's just all open. But here, because of the side walls that are equidistant from one another in the TV, it sounds really good.
Yeah, I think it also is so highly dependent on what's attached to it.
Yes.
Because so many of these things Henrik was talking about made no sense to me until I realized, well, I have 50s left and right.
Hmm.
So the whole soft center kind of gets fixed with 50s anyway.
Hmm.
So it's I guess I wasn't never too bothered because like the 50s even mask so many of the center mistakes because the 50s can just sort of do the
Do it.
center.
They do the center better than anything, and so do the 90s. So yeah, that's the catch. What are we generally using as a video source for your theater? That's a good question because a lot of people use different things. I personally use native sources in the LG panel, which is YouTube, Amazon Prime. I don't have Netflix, don't care for it. And Plex Player, which occasionally I download a movie or whatever, which I don't have time for. So
Arg. Back to
I'll
tradition.
pirate some stuff. You know what I mean? It's much easier to just go to Amazon Prime and watch a movie there or rent it and says that, man. So I don't I have an issue with one of the clients here where I think it's my bad because we plugged everything into the theater, and what we should have done is plugged in the PlayStation 5 directly into the panel,
Yeah.
because that dude has some like demon possessed fucking TV glitches, man. It's unbelievable. Like, it just, his TV goes flickered and turns off, and HDR can go to more than 1080p, and it's a mistake and a mess.
That could be
So,
also a bad cable
but that's
or a
also I was
bad port.
suspecting.
Yeah.
But if it's a bad port, it's on the theater, or the theater just can't do whatever whatever the traffic is on the PS5 display.
Well,
Or just
it's supposed to. It's supposed to go. What is it? 8K 60.
Yeah, but I don't know. It may be the cable fault. I honestly suspect it because I've seen, not all the HDMI's are made the same way.
No.
And yeah, like I've seen
I mean,
what's it called?
I too had everything attached to the panel. I tried initially to the theater, but the way it was attached there, it was so tight. It was easier to go up over and go back to the panel.
Hmm. Yeah, it's not generous for the connection panel area
It's
at
tiny.
all.
If you plus, I also
Especially
had.
like if you want to get into like audio quest cables or something that is thick, like the cement mixer thickness, you're hooked.
I mean, I also had all the power links populated and
Yeah, which
wired
is that's
Ethernet.
4 Cat 7 Lemon soda. Yeah, that's ridiculous, right?
Like,
It's
I don't know how I could have fit like another and you still have to do an HDMI for the ARC or eARC. So
yeah.
it's like, how the heck do I put two more HDMI in here? Like, it's never gonna fit. Well, if it fits, it's bulging,
Yeah.
and bulging is okay, ladies, but it has its place.
Not at the back of my TV, that's for
Like a
sure.
bulge in the back is generally not as appetizing as a bulge in the front. If you,
If you will. But yeah, I'm definitely I've absolutely fallen in love with the walnut grill. By the way, I don't know if Steve's watching, but or Stefan, sorry. Your girl came in, so I'll see you next week sometime. So we're gonna be girl brothers with the theater. She's got the walnut too. So yeah, I really like it. I really like the A5, man. It's a good product. It's funny that they call it A5 because the A5 accessory was the zigzag CD rack. I don't know if you remember that.
no.
No, let me see if I can Google that. Olufsen A5.
No, I wasn't that much into like I was into the bigger stuff speakers at the time, but like I said, I've always been way more into movies than into pure audio.
Hmm. Let's see if I can find it. Oh, it's the glass one. Let's go to the Beo world here. There we go. Well, let's post the link in the chat here so everybody else can see it. That's the A5 original, which I have 3 of in my storage locker. 2 short, 1 long. In dark cherry. That was such a great wood. I still want to get that CD shelf stacker, the cherry one. That one was beautiful as well.
Yeah, they made a bunch of beautiful furniture at the time.
Mm-hmm. That's the OG.
I kind of want them to do that again. If we're going to slim down the portfolio for total products available, like make some furniture to go with stuff again.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Sandeep. So you got your PS5 going to the theater, and it's fine. You have to play with the PS video settings a bit, but it's fine. So we did play the video settings in the PlayStation 5. It will not allow to go over, like if you go to HDR, it will not allow to go over 1080p. So I think it's the faulty cable. But we're going in there anyways, because the guy, I think he's bought 28s or 18s for the rears. So we're going there. Everybody that makes a mistake to come to the shop to visit Kareem just leave with more speakers. It's fucking hilarious.
Well, that's not bad.
It's not bad for me too, because I get to put them in.
Yeah.
And but yeah, we could not do it, man. Like I've tried everything other than I was there by myself, and I didn't want to ask him to help me take his 77-inch panel off the wall, because coordinating to hang that thing back with the client, it's impossible.
Whoa, what's happening?
What do you mean, what's happening?
I can't hear shit. I think my portal's just freaked out.
Or died. Well, I can hear.
Hold on.
We're good.
I thought, fortunately, that sound didn't go out to everybody, I don't think.
No, you're still on. You just can't hear.
Because I heard you say go on the wow.
Oh no!
Just like, whoa, what's that? And I thought like my computer froze or something. And then I finally looked at the audio bar over here, and you were just talking normally, like it's. And it wasn't just like full max volume. What the hell was that?
So, but yeah. Anyways, I'm not gonna ask the client to help me take his TV off the panel, TV panel off the wall, right? So I can, do whatever I need to get done. So we're gonna go there, 2 techs, and fix the problem. But I don't understand, other than blaming the cable. If your theater runs proper, Sandeep, then that's what it is. Do you remember what HDMI port socket you're using for the PS5 input by any chance? Because his goes in the C. It was A was Apple, B was Bell, and C was PlayStation 5. So I don't know if that varies. I don't think that it's not like the old Avant that you can see. That you only had port 1 on the HDMI side with the 2.2, right? But yeah, no dials anymore, no buttons. Well, there is buttons, but they're discrete.
But it's I like the evolution of products, because I mean, the first one was what, 1950s or something, and then 50s, 60s, and then the middle one is 70s and 80s, and a lot of the newer things are sort of retro, but modern in the same sense.
Yeah, they blend in well with the older decor of people that owned B&O. Yeah. They moved to new. Yeah.
I mean, and there's something to say for that, right? Because those interiors are often classics for a reason, because they stay great.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it may not be... Like, there was a fad in this country around the 2000s where, like, everything had to be white. Like, you had a white marble floor with, like, hospital white walls and ceiling. And then you had a white couch in there, and it was just different shades of white, everything white. But
that was the mid-2000s. Like, that was the mid or late 2000s. And even that reflected in the B&O catalogs as well, because everything was surgical white.
Yeah, and then you go outside and you have plants that are white, and you have a tree with like white sprucing and stuff, and it's like, if you go into that now, you go like, oh, what were you thinking? And like the gold accent 28 thing, like you could potentially see that in, I don't know, the 1920s, but also in the 1950s or in
Hmm.
the 1980s or now, and still think that's actually really nice. It's really
Hmm.
tasteful.
Yeah, that's the WAF is high with B&O, and I like it. Like I said, even my girlfriend, like she now understands what it is because she couldn't even imagine what like me going. Like I said, going to the shop. It's like do you work in a regular store or whatever? Like she didn't even have and couldn't even imagine what it is to go to the B&O store and just sit her down and get her head blown off by the 50s. It was great.
I don't understand your question, Harry. Couldn't one connect a Beosound 2 sub via Airport Express to these? You mean a
Earphones.
BeoLab 2? But Wi-Fi and Yeah, I don't. Whatever you're thinking, I don't think that'll work.
You're basically sending it to the Airport Express as a full band stereo, and then Lab 2 just I guess takes out the
Yeah,
all
but
the way
wouldn't you
to.
almost be better off asking Steve to make a contraption with a different source, like a core or something? Like where you go from a core to the BeoLab 2 to then wire to two A5s. But at that point, you're better off buying something else, I would say. Just buy a
Yeah.
balance at that point, or buy two balances.
Hmm.
Because I'm not really sure you need a sub with a balance.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Yeah, I think I agree with Steve. Like the A5 isn't something that you need a sub for. I'm very excited to see this paired up in the shop on Tuesday because I'm gonna pair them now that the software finally is finalized, at least for now, to see how they work because or how they sound rather. But they are. It's a very magical product, like how it does the sound after because if you don't realize that it's playing, it's funny because I had put the table in the front and I put it in front of the theater and just had it play, on like a mediocre volume. And for a bit, you completely forget that it's not the theater playing if it's not too loud, because obviously the bass takes over. The theater makes way more, but it's funny how sonically close they are together as far as by design.
I wonder if it's a limitation of the size and general shape and power, etc. But the balance and 28s are much more bass heavy than the theater and or A5 is,
Hmm.
which in my opinion is a good thing because B&O used to be quite flat. The
Hmm.
50s are extremely flat, and then 28s really have a big bass hump. So,
Hmm.
and I don't know, maybe it's the time. It's okay for certain music, but it makes every like old music sound a bit strange when it like the Beatles have a lot of bass and stuff.
Hmm. It's
It
not
just
right.
or if your classical music, like the trombone is like omnipresent because it's like whoa.
Hmm. So no, it's every music has its time with speakers. We've already talked about it and agreed on it a long time ago. But yeah, the A5 sounds great. It sounds great. Yeah, Stefan, your walnut grill's in, so sometime next week we should get together when it's not raining.
Make a
So
wine evening or something out of it.
that's right. We'll be walnut brothers now. Fuck. So yeah, it's no, I like it, and quite honestly, it's great that they came out with something that is cool. That
Only took
actually is
like 8 weeks to get or something.
but yeah, I don't think that this could ever be like a what's it called? Uh, a rear channel speaker. I don't think. I just don't see it. This looks too utility. You know what I mean? Like a picnic basket. Like level, yes, but this is meant to be moved around.
I have a feeling that any of the Mozart speakers that are portable,
It
it's
will be
just
excluded.
it's just asking for trouble, right?
I'd say.
I mean, as a practical standpoint, even if the TV is off and you use it independently,
Hmm.
like how often in in a surround sound setup do you just move the rear speaker somewhere else and you hope they come back more or less in the same position?
Hmm.
Or what if, like in my future home, like you take it to the pool, it's a nice day, you take a shower, you come back into the living room and you turn something on and your surround speaker is still out by the pool.
Right.
It's like, this is just asking for issues. I mean, a balance is pretty static because you're not going to lug that around generally because there's no battery in it.
Hmm. Well, and that's what I class as an entry level speaker. I would uh, I would rather, like, if I were to have, I don't know. Well, the Emerge is more expensive, I guess, if you get two of them than one A5.
Yes.
But it sounds very clean, very clean in stereo pair. If you're like looking for a speaker set that you're not gonna move about and it takes absolutely minimum space, the pair of Emerges is sick. But obviously, it won't beat the pair of two picnic baskets. But to me, it's just the picnic baskets. Having two of them would look weird because they don't look like a speaker. You just look like you have two baskets for no reason in the house.
I must say
You
that if
know?
my dealer gave me the option, like he said, pick a present for Christmas for yourself. You can have either two emerges or the picnic basket. One of them, I say I'll take the picnic basket all day.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm perfectly happy it's to have one over two emerges, and I know people around here now seem to like the emerge. I still am sort of in the camp of like I'll just hum to myself if it has to be low volume.
You know what? For the bathroom, you'd be surprised how great that little thing sounds. Like three-quarter volume, it's decent amount and keeps up the bass even with the shit that I listen to. So, and it takes absolutely minimal space. It takes half the room that the M3 did before. So,
Would you take an A2 or an A5? A5
you
all
know,
the way.
A5 by hands down, bro.
An A2 is nice and it's small. It's definitely way more compact if you want to travel, as in travel with it, like on airplanes and stuff. But if you want to
Hmm.
go to the beach,
No, for
park,
sound quality,
whatever,
absolutely not. No.
it's A5 hands down. It's not even close.
Because
Also,
the A2 also had tendencies to tip over in the grass, and then you just lose one side of it as far as the speaker is concerned.
yeah,
So,
no, the A5 is much more rounded. It's just way more versatile too.
mhm. No, it's a great product. Like the only thing that I'm kind of worried about is like if you do take it out in the beach and whatever, like you get the sand in a USB-C port, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't know if I'm just being that anal, but like they should. I don't know if they should, or I don't know if Amazon even has them that you have some sort of a USB-C, like a rubber plug, to cover the port if you're
Oh,
taking it out
you do
somewhere.
absolutely.
Yeah,
You find those on graphics cards all the time because a lot of graphics cards now have USB-C out for VR headsets.
no shit.
I probably still have one in my GPU right now.
USB-C plug cover. Oh shit, there's tons.
Beosound 2 or A5. It's not heads up because one is portable and the other one isn't. And it's also the sculpture of one versus, I don't know, it's, yes, it's aluminium, a lot of it, but it's not the same. It's much more cast versus like forged, rolled. In terms of sound, I personally would probably give it to the Beosound 2. If it's pure sound in terms of the whole thing, it depends on whether you want portability or not. Sound wise,
But now
I said
also, I
Beosound
think
2.
there's going to be another question that's going to rise very quickly. Is the Beosound 2 Mark III better than because audibly to me the A9 Mark V sounds better than the Mark IV. Whatever that Mozart platform is doing, it made, or they changed a little bit of a DSP in there. I don't know, man, but it sounds better to me. I don't know if it's psychoacoustics, like you have the new shoes so they feel comfortable, but it sounds better than because we did have the opportunity in the shop to compare them side by side, because you obviously still have a couple Gen 4s
Mm-hmm.
in stock. So we did the A to B comparison, and the bass was way more cleaner and refined. Like even I think the room compensation runs more efficiently on the Mark V than it does on the what's it called, on the Mark IV. And plus, you don't have those goofy freaking lights coming across like the Knight Rider.
Yeah, so you can buy these sorts of cables if you want to for your USB, and then it's also not a problem for in the beach or whatever.
Yeah, because it's just plugged. That's cool.
Yeah, so and this is magnetic. So you just put the tip in, ladies.
Yeah, it looks like it's pogo connectors too, or micro pogo connectors. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So you can find these sorts of things. They're just not ultra cheap.
Yeah, but what is it worth bending the fuck out of a USB-C connector and possibly breaking it off inside your what's it called, A5? You know?
Yeah, I mean there's that. I mean you do cover the port, so I it has its pros and cons. I mean maybe B&O could sell a B&O branded cable that can do this, and then it'll be like, I don't know, $50 for just a cable.
I'd pay it. It's probably more for the braided cable that comes with it. I do have to say the packaging, because well, Steve, you've had one on your video, so you obviously had an opportunity to open one. What's your impression of how this thing is packed? Because I was very and thoroughly impressed by the way that they actually wrapped it, how the handle's protected, like the entire package. Excuse me, it's absolutely sick. It was very nice presentation as far as the experience goes for unwrapping this product. Very elegant. So B&O is always very elegant about their stuff.
The last 3 years, they've been on their game with packing, in my opinion. The theater was packed excellently as well.
Yeah, but there is a problem that those stupid patch labels that they put over the, to seal, to cover the box,
Yeah.
they did not hold all the way across the ocean usually.
Well, that's why I did that to my box in like 3
Yeah.
places, and then on the corners I did that. Like I did it everywhere.
Yeah, no, I definitely, it was a little bit poorly designed box comparatively to whatever else they had. Like all they needed to do is extend the flap one more fold with the sides going in to lock itself, and then put those goofy patch stickers that they got.
Yeah, but in terms of the styrofoam, how tightly it was in there, that it was pretty well done.
I'm also surprised that like they're now packing that in that weird fabric instead of like the old school Beofoam. Like, did they figure that now that's better?
I think it's recyclable. Because
Oh,
I took out because my Beosound 2 is a Mark 1 still, because non-GVA for the win.
same here.
And that still had that old Beofoam, but I was looking at it, and yes, it's that sort of foamy soft stuff, but it has plastic backing in the middle and sort of outside. It's like, yeah, that's probably not really recyclable, and they want to go to like the net zero stuff, right? Where this is probably also where the brown cardboard for the theater comes from. Whereas you look at the stage, which is that plasticized cardboard, which is probably way harder to recycle.
Well, yeah, because it's waxed or whatever the heck it is on it, right? Like
Yeah.
it's
I mean, it's still mostly paper, but that bit of plastic and stuff that's on there. And do you, in essence, have to like print the whole product on everything and like print it all white and versus brown? Like, how often do you look at the box?
yeah, the balance. I mean, the balance. The theaters. I mean, the theaters. For God's sakes, the stage only comes in a brown box when it's a part of the contour package,
Yeah.
because then it doesn't come with the frame or nothing. I'm gonna make another coffee here, and yeah. Other than that, yeah, like the colored packaging, yeah, for portable products, sure, but I think it's yeah, I agree with you. It's a little too much.
I mean,
Oh
in
shit!
essence,
Water.
the way I looked at my boxes, right, and the
Yeah.
ones I had, they need to survive twice.
hmm
And if you do more than that, then you're either lucky because the boxes are good enough, or you need to be able to repurchase them.
Yes.
But essentially, the box just has to make it from the factory to the dealer to the customer, and that's all it needs to
hmm
do. And like,
Well, and usually the easiest trip is from the dealer to the customer. I'm gonna pause myself here. Let's
yeah.
mute because when the compressor kicks in.
I mean, in my opinion, it doesn't really matter what it looks like. I mean, even if you look at the boxes from the 50s or 90s, like, yes, they're big, but they're pretty unassuming.
Yeah.
Which is probably for the best.
No, but they're tough as bones, right? Like that's what I like about the '90s boxes. That they're. The problem is that the hinge system that they made, they also haven't been built or were not intended to be built and taken apart more than twice at the most.
I mean, there's only so many times you can screw in a screw into the same place in wood before it's
Right.
just mush. I mean, otherwise you have to bolt it through, but then you're gonna have a problem at some point.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's not obviously, but yeah, '90s, like if you get those speakers, the assumption is that they don't move for another decade from the space that they're put in, right? Because it's just ridiculous.
I mean, we can trade speakers.
Fuck you. I'm not trading speakers, bro.
Wait, you don't like 50s?
I like 50s, but I like my 90s better. To be honest. Yeah, the 90s kick ass.
Yeah, you can live with 50s. Come on, let's trade.
I don't know. We'll see where the circumstances push my ass to. See what cliff I'm gonna be jumping off of.
I mean, maybe I could also make my 50s rear speakers if that's what you prefer, and I'll get your 90s
Ooh,
up front.
look at you hanging up cocky and shit. Oh man, I got 2 more weeks to find out before my police record finally comes in, because I didn't assume that it's going to be that much of a wait, but I guess everything after COVID now is like, oh my god, we're short staffed.
Still?
Yeah,
Bloody hell.
it's just a pain in the ass, bro. But at some point, I will be able to go, and that's all I'm looking forward to. And then not look back again. But for now, it's in a francophone town.
Is it in French then?
What? Here? Everything's French, bro. Other than downtown, it's like you got out of the city, good fucking luck ordering a sandwich somewhere. Like it's just no English. Like you pointed a picture and a number. That's it. I want number 6.
Pain avec fromage, s'il vous plaît.
So yeah, it's interesting in here though. It's you know what? The driving here is absolutely insane. It's I can't get over how fucked up it is in here.
Probably because it's French. It's no difference
Well,
in
the
France.
roads are messed up. The roads are messed right up. And yeah, people drive like they stole their cars. And we still have all the fallen trees more or less in piles around the city from the storm that was a month ago, the rain, ice storm. That shit was insane. It was not fun.
Yeah, that's why Florida. I don't like that cold.
No, it's too much. Way too much.
I mean, when I was in Wisconsin, it's like, oh yeah, it's actually kind of warm now, and it's like, wait, what? Like
Kind of warm.
-5 C? It's like, how is that kind of warm?
It's kind of warm for them,
It's
right?
like, well, last week it was -15. Like,
Yeah. No, it's stupid. The weather here. But it's starting to get nice, man. I like that. It's still going to be raining the entire day or entire week, apparently. But the only thing that it sucks about that is that I can't. I don't want to book my storage locker. I want to get into the storage locker and get some stuff out, but I can't because I don't want to have everything rained on and shit when I have to pull it all out. So we'll see how that all goes. But yeah, I'm happy for the A5. Hopefully, we'll sell a lot of units because they are. It's a nice product. The summer's coming, so it's a good launch. It's a good timing for the launch, in my opinion.
oh yeah, I agree.
I do think that they should introduce more colors, like to the product line. I don't think that that's that hard to make. You know,
No, like I
like
said, I really want those wooden slats, but in a much lighter wood. Because I like.
yeah, they should have done the oak, and they should have done maybe later even like make one that has the aluminium grill, just like the Beolit type of thing, right? Like the old Beosound one, you know, the small dots, or make something interesting with it, like your palatial speakers for the. Yes, I know it would up the price to shit, but you can you can do something that is not that is more interesting. But I also understand why they did what they did, because it's also meant to be durable, right? Like you can't really dent this because it's weave. You know, wood, yeah, you can f up the wood a little bit, but this, I think this is the most resilient product that they had done or made so far, other than the Beosound Explorer.
Yeah, the,
Which
the only way I could buy the wicker is if I go slightly retro and get a dining room with chairs like these.
yeah, that would suit it.
I mean, we used to have that in like the late 80s, early 90s, so it's kind of retro to me. It was a round table with exactly these chairs. And they are really comfy chairs because they like have that bounce in them because there's no back legs. But I'm not sure I want to go back to that sort of styling.
Hmm.
I mean,
I don't.
I'm sort of like okay with the wicker on it. It's like I sort of like it. It's not bad on the A5, but it's not my preference.
No, it definitely isn't my style either. But
I mean, I think
for
because
the
it's the first
outside,
pictures that were out, that's how it got its name, the picnic basket, because the
hmm
wooden version doesn't look like a picnic basket.
no, it does not. It more looks like a planter.
A really fancy one, though.
A fancy planter with a handle. But yeah, I do like it. I like the anthracite. I was gonna take the anthracite, but just for the contrast, even behind me, you wouldn't be able to see anything because it's just a black blob at that point.
It's
Just like,
really dark, the anthracite.
yeah, it's just like even the theater here with the walnut, it completely disappeared the grill now in certain
It looks
scenarios.
like the black fabric one from where I'm sitting.
Yeah, but it's not. It is the walnut still.
Like I can see some contrast, but it's like to the point where I'm
There's
not
something
sure.
termite thing in here.
Yeah, I can see the bit like that.
A little bit, yeah. But that's
Is it a lot darker than your 18s?
no. Didn't I send you those pics?
Maybe.
Let's see. Because I did post pictures, but then again, like a caveat to the statement of it all is I've oiled my grills. I've oiled my 18 grills twice, and I oiled them once before I left. Like once before I'm like after I moved out of my apartment,
Mm.
or before I moved out of my apartment, I oiled the suckers. so they were stored. They were stored in the oil. So let's go to.
No, I have the ones from the padding, but I think this was the where you padded the regular oak, not the
Yeah,
walnut ones. And for people that just missed it, I know that you like to keep your wood lubricated.
let's go to WhatsApp. I think I maybe had sent it to you. I definitely sent it to you in the WhatsApp. Let's see. Like, yes, I did.
Do you want me to find them that way and email them to myself, or what? If you found them, just email them.
Here, I just resent it. I don't know how to email out of this thing. But we can also do that old-fashioned way. So that's the difference.
Yeah.
Between the walnut that is unoiled and the walnut that was oiled in my but if I put a walnut spoon from my cutlery set, it's exactly the same color. So it's just I haven't oiled it. Once I oiled it, it'll look way nicer. It brings out the grain. It looks cool. So
Yeah, it looks kind of dry.
it's very dry, but that also will help with wood not being warped and whatever. I did have 2 lamellas broken in it though. I had to reglue them little pegs. So I think honestly they should have started, put 2 screws just like they did with the 18s for the money that you pay for that. It should have been designed better. Yes, I know, and I understand they're removable, but so are the screws.
Yeah.
But it looks good. If the shit starts coming out of it, I'll super glue them. I'll just start super gluing them in. Screw you. That's it. You're not moving no more. So yeah, now there's a picture of the difference, I guess, in the walnut grills. Again, mine are 5 years old, and those walnut grills never seen the day of the light sun on them. Like I always had my shades on in the apartment, so they never were like directly exposed to sunlight. And like I said, it took 3 hours to oil one lamella, one side,
Of
to
the
do it
18s
properly.
or of the...
Yes, of the 18s. But you can see the grain, like the wood is much nicer when it's oiled than the dry looking walnut that is on the theater grill.
What sort of oil do you end up using?
I use mineral oil. I bought it from what the fuck is it? Williams and Sonoma, where I bought all my cutlery, like all the utensils that are walnut. So I tried it on that. I'm like, okay, this works really well. So then I oiled that, and I oiled my smoked oak panels on the 90s, and that really brought them up nice too, deepen the color. So, and it also helps the wood, of course, right? Doesn't eat the dust as much. Like I really don't have dust settling on my grills in between the grills on the 18s anymore at all. I'm looking at them.
I, out of habit, looked over to see mine, but nothing's there.
Yeah, you're done.
It's a sad day.
It's a sad day, bro. This is the last podcast, man.
I mean,
From this
they
view.
picked everything up on Wednesday because Thursday was a national holiday because it was King's Day.
Yeah.
So everybody goes ham on Wednesday night and on the Thursday because basically it's a 24-hour drinking session for the entire nation.
Fuck.
So I kind of was like, I don't want to have a bunch of people do this with a hangover on Friday.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
And they wouldn't do it on in the weekend. And then it's like, well, Monday is way close for like cleaning when I have to leave on Wednesday. So shit, that means I have like 6 days to a week without anything of any kind.
Fuck.
Well, it is what it is, right? At least it's done.
It's done. It's over, bro.
I mean, if for whatever reason they got were late, had to come back or do it or whatever. Like it's like, okay, we're still good on time.
Hmm.
Mark says I got a few of A1 and A2 to repair. They are sealed speakers like the A5. It's amazing how many snap the plastic where the screws are due to how powerful the bass is. Hope these A5s don't end up the same. I don't think so.
No, but I do agree. The A1s, man, they have, like, if you actually take it apart and play that speaker open, holy cow, is that ever powerful driver inside it?
Yeah, the A1 sort of bounces itself at like
Yes.
80% volume.
Yeah, it's a great speaker.
I mean, it's they're also the A1s and A2s are built to a price point that is so different than an A5 is, right?
Yes.
I mean, there's still the A range, but one is a BeoPlay / Beosound now.
Hmm.
Uh, I'm kind of still a bit befuddled why they changed the A1 to Beosound.
A1.
Yeah,
It still has that Alexa nonsense in it. I don't like that.
yeah, but like the whole reason to not call the A5 a Beolit is because
Hmm.
it does so much more. But it's like that argument doesn't go for an A1 because they're
It's not a
essentially the
linkable
same.
product. Yeah, they're not a linkable product.
So it's like it makes sense on the face of it, but if you think about all the other products that are called Beosound, there's some weird ones in there, like the
Hmm.
A1. Like, and this is exactly why they should have kept BeoPlay a BeoPlay thing.
To separate.
Yeah,
Well,
it,
they kind of still have it with the headphones, I guess.
yeah, but everything's H, which is
I-
more or less for headphones. H.
Yeah.
So anyway, I understand that they sort of did it to up the value because it was definitely the B brand, but that was also its saving grace in that if you bought the B brand and it went wrong, it was the B brand and went wrong, not the proper brand.
When I was in Denmark in 2015 and 2016, both times somebody had asked about the naming standard of BeoLab speakers and overall Beo, how they name the stuff.
We
And
throw at a dartboard.
nobody, honestly, nobody in Denmark in the factory had a clear answer to why or how they name them. They just don't, because they don't name them the way that, like, it's not a Beosound A5 for them. It's like a S150 or whatever for a speaker number type, right? Like the project number, I guess, is more or less is what it is.
Yeah.
They don't really know, and then they just kind of know how, where, and who decides, but somebody does.
It's like that interview Henrik did with Jeff Martin. There's like the Harmony or the Eclipse, and he was like, which is which?
Hmm.
It's like, you worked on these. It's like, yeah, but we never call them that.
No, they're called project numbers. Like V100 was the BeoVision Avant back in the years.
Yeah.
So he wouldn't even know what the fuck you're talking about. Oh, Avant 55. What? It's the one that the speaker goes like that. Oh, okay, I know. V100. Never mind.
Yeah,
But
it's a thing. I mean, also with regards to longevity versus like A1s and A2s, I think with an A5 they have a much larger eye towards sustainability and that sort of thing now.
well, from what I'm looking, it's pretty easy to fix because there's few screws on the back panel. It comes out, and I'm sure that's where the Mozart chip is, and also the
Amps and stuff, and
amps are gonna be right behind it, and battery's gonna be accessible. I've also now the level finally had the product update for or a software update for the boot loop being stuck into all the time.
mm-hmm.
We got one in the shop, and it was blinking like literally. Kareem called, like, what do I do? I'll just plug it in the network and leave it overnight. Never came back online, bro. I took it, took out the battery, waited 2 minutes, put the battery in, factory reset the sucker, came back on like no problem. And then the update came, so hopefully it'll never do that again.
I mean, you see the pictures here. It's like,
it's pretty simple for the internals.
Yeah, which is a good thing in many ways. Simple doesn't mean bad, and complicated doesn't mean good.
As long as that thing can handle the heat properly on its own, especially on the outside environment, which I'm sure they hopefully had tested for. But, there's obviously going to be limitation. Like if you leave it on the patio somewhere in fucking middle of Dubai's desert, like it's going to be a little bit harsher on it than for getting it under a tree somewhere in Canada in the shadow and it's plus 30 outside. So it's different, but I like the fact that it's not like a unibody design that you can't get into it anymore.
Yes, and, for sure.
It's good that they well, B&O was never a unibody company. They always had everything repairable to a certain level or point. I can't think of one thing that would have been unrepairable, really.
I mean, operating temperature conditions, it's a 0 to 40 degrees. So even Dubai and stuff is fine as long as you don't put it like outside, literally in the sun on top of a dune or something.
Mm-hmm. Mark, yeah, you can open the balance. I'm not going to tell you how, but yeah, you can get inside the balance. You can service every component on it. It is an utter pain in the penis, but it does come apart very
You can
simple.
get inside Beosound 1 and 2 as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's not very obvious, but it's also kind of... like, it's not a wooden box. It's not like even Focal or whatever, where you have like exposed screw heads.
You can get into the emerge from the bottom as well. You just need to know what to peel off and reveal the screws, and then I remove the panels, and from there on you just have skeleton of screws and stuff that you can take stuff out. It's very simple. I've gained a lot of respect for the emerge, just like I guess the electronics and like the mechanical design of that little thing, because it's insane how much they crammed into it. And when you watch the technical videos, which I had to watch, in order to become certified, I know how to take apart and put back together every product that B&O has in the portfolio. And I knew it before, but you just have to watch through the videos and see it. But it's unbelievable how much tech is packed into that little thing. It's got the same tech packed into its son's battery that this does. Yeah. Right? It's the same chip that has to fit inside everywhere. And it's the size of a freaking Game Boy cartridge. Yeah.
Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't yet already. I mean, there's 57 of you here. You can leave a like if you haven't done so. Right. It's free.
Grab your remote and navigate to that thing. It's just a few presses up, left, and up again. And
or open your phone and your iPad and just...
throw us a like.
Get your daughter, sons, whatever, ex-wife's iPad. Just press like on all of them. It's okay.
spam us. It's good. The cigar's going out.
I mean, I am still a bit befuddled why they sort of... because it must be only really marketing, and it's not backwards compatible in terms of marketing. Or maybe it's because the current marketing people don't really know the back catalog that well. But so much of what B&O has made was never marketed as sustainable and or recyclable, but almost all of it is.
Well, that, but also like their mantra was always that the product should have a lifespan in relevance of design and function for at least a decade.
Yeah.
And they stuck to it for a long time. Now, obviously, the tech is much more dynamic than it was in the 70s and 80s when everything was analog and, you could only have so many sources, really. You got a tape deck, the turntable, the CD player, maybe a video CD if you're fucking crazy. And that's it. VCR on the TV, maybe a DVD player, which was built into the Avant. Like, there wasn't really that much. And everything was analog and everything was repairable in a different way, where nowadays, your shit doesn't work not because it's poorly put together. It's because there's a bug in the bloody software of it. Like, it's...
But even like if you look at BeoVoxes, right? 90% surely of that material in a BeoVox is recyclable.
Oh yeah,
Because it's wood, cone, magnet, copper,
fabric.
yeah, and maybe the fabric is the
Ouch.
hardest to actually recycle. If you're
So
looking at a Van 28 or 32, like the entire frame is aluminium. That's all recyclable. The cathode tubes, the glass, it's all recyclable. There's
mhm.
maybe a bunch of plastic that's not that recyclable, but it wasn't immensely plastic in those days.
No,
I
no,
mean,
but
BLab
that's
5's pretty much everything is recyclable again.
but yeah, I think that like I think there's a little bit of a disconnect between uh, the young generation that is currently working at BNO, in my opinion, versus what actually happens technically in the field. Like, let's look at the example of today, where the people swapped their 35-year-old system for something brand new,
Yeah.
completely different experience as far as the interface with the product and so on and so forth. So it's a huge learning curve, but they didn't get rid of the Pentas. Well, they got rid of the Pentas, but he still kept the 3500 and then 6500. And we put it in his office downstairs and just plugged in the RCA jacks from the TV, and it stayed with him because it still freaking works, bro.
I bet you Pentas are almost entirely recyclable too.
Well, those Pentas actually have been completely rebuilt too, so I don't know why they've gotten rid of them, but to each their own.
Well, sometimes you
So,
want something new.
and they have brand, like, the grills are in mint condition, so they're like they have resale value to it as well.
Yeah.
They always have.
I mean, maybe it's sort of
But like where I was going with this point is we've had a few installs where a guy, the video engine on the Avant went, maybe I think for the second time, and it's like, I'm not spending another $3,000 on fixing this thing, plus the travel and trip to get the guys in here, and yada yada yada. So he just went with the Theater 65, great option.
mm-hmm.
Problem now is that the network link converter, you could do it on the Eclipse and the Harmony, where yes, it doesn't really have the CD source, but you can join the CD from the 9000. It's Beosound 4 in his case, and then press and hold my favorite, and it'll save it as that source. So even though it's not existent on the Beo Remote 1, you can still press my button 1 and it'll turn on the CD per se. My button 2 is your radio. It doesn't do that on the Theater. Theater does not support the network link converter. And that should have been something that should be looked at, because a lot of the people that had bought the Theater, not I would say a lot of them were newcomers, but the ones that are very problematic is the repeat customers that update. Like, we had a guy that gave up his BeoVision 9, bro, and we put a Theater in there, and now it's an issue with the delays because it was all analog from the BV9, so the sound was synchronized to the in-ceiling speakers. No longer happens because of the processing delay.
Yeah, especially for Avant, because Avant was stopped being made in what, 2017?
I think so.
So that's not that old of a customer, right?
No,
But it's effectively the next purchase generation, and like a bunch of stuff you have no longer works. So I mean, that's something.
well, it does, but it's unusable because of the delays are so great that you can't have the living room and dining room joined together from one source, because it's a fucking disaster, because they're 250 milliseconds apart, right? And that's a lot. Like, that's unusable. And like, the BNO radio works, but like I said, you can't. The only way that you can do that is to turn on the CD in the dining room from the BeoLink converter, because it's got lap 4s connected to it, and then you can join the Theater. That's the only way. But then like, for somebody that spent that amount of money, it's kind of like, well, son of a bitch. Like, that's not really how I imagined this system to work, since I had it working in a certain way for a long time, and I'm used to that, right?
Yeah.
And even before that, he was used to the Masterlink, because it's a Beosound 4 with a bunch of passive kits around the house. So there are things that are a little bit disconnected.
Maybe the better option was then to fix the Avant.
But if you decided not to, you can't really convince the guy, right? If he wants new, why would you?
Eclipse, maybe then. Hopefully.
He didn't want it. He wanted the Theater because the sound and everything, right?
Yeah.
It buries the freaking Avant. Like even he with the subwoofer, it just buries it.
Oh, sure, no doubt.
So,
It's yeah. I
but
don't know. Surely B&O could do something about it, but it's probably
currently there is no solution offered. Like there are tickets because obviously there's a whole bunch of people that we started the claim or whatever submitted it, but there's no, I guess, to this point workaround.
I have a feeling that this is one of these things where they go like, there's 20,
7
30,
people,
50
yeah,
people, whatever, and it's not economically viable to do so. But not realizing that these customers have houses full, and if these people get fed up, you lose an enormous customer.
that's right. Because in the future house they'll decide to go with something completely different at that point. Because why would I go with this headache and now it's incompatible, but I
Yeah.
can buy something that is cheaper and I
And you
don't have
kind of
that
set the
much.
precedent of like, who knows, the next gen may do the same thing for whatever I buy now,
Yeah.
which is not a great idea in my like. And I understand it to a point, but this is the same reason why I'm somewhat nervous when they say we're going to focus on the very high net worth individuals. It's like, yeah, those are those 50 people where you would say this software is not economically valuable
Hmm.
for us to make. But it's like, but if all those 50, like even if half of them are, I don't know, people that potentially spend $500,000 on your shit, does it really matter if it's 25 people that ask for this? Just do it. Like, and it may
I
not have to be on the absolute front burner, but like at least get to it.
That's what I'm saying too. Like they should definitely consider that function because it's not going away. And the reason why it's not going away because a lot of people are still hanging on and clinging on to their 9000s because it's a piece of
Art.
beautiful art. It's the most recognized CD player on the planet, and it's something that people are still proud of owning, right? Even though they use it maybe seldomly, but some people use it all the time. So it's just yeah, those are the things that I think should be looked at as far as the software bugs and so on and so forth that goes on. But other than that, I find it working very well as far as the new network link stuff. And even when I had the M3 here, like it's nice that it actually enabled the BNO radio feature on it, so you don't have to have the TuneIn account no more. Yeah, it's good. I like it. But yeah, I think you should definitely do the initial and post refurb tour.
Or should I just do it once it's done? And
No, I would run the video camera through the house before you start tearing stuff up.
okay,
So
I'll have to think about it. Because my camera is obviously also in the moving boxes.
do an MTV Cribs, Michael Christiansen says.
uh,
But
I
yeah, well, you can do it with the phone
I,
even just
I
to
forgot to
record.
actually pack one camera that now I have to take in my luggage, but it's literally a tape recorder.
Oh my God. What do
We
you need that for?
It's just really old and I still had it, but it was hidden away in a corner somewhere and I forgot to pack it.
Oh my God.
I mean, they took something that I wanted to keep and they left that thing which I actually wanted them to take with. So it's sort of like,
Damn
oh,
it.
whatever. Because one is a cardboard box like that big, and it's an extra roll of toner for a laserjet printer. But the laserjet printer is going to stay here, and it's going to go to my sister. So in one of the millions of boxes, I'll find a toner cartridge that I
That
have to
you will
send
have
back
no
to my
use for.
sister.
Oh my God. That's funny. But yeah, hopefully everything comes in one piece. That's your only worry now, per se. And hopefully the house works out with all the nonsense that comes logistically with the transferring money and all this shit.
Yeah, the captain says, think of clay plastering your new house. Yeah, I know you're into clay plastering, but I doubt they'll have any clue
No,
how to do that in Florida.
no, they won't be able to do that.
Well,
Maybe.
maybe, but like this like everybody does drywall for everything, right? It's I'm not so sure that they're gonna be experts in that.
No, no, I can guarantee you that that's going to be a little bit of a problem. I wouldn't even, yeah, I wouldn't even go there at all. Just drive all the shit. Do you have a crawl space
No,
access? Oh,
nobody
okay.
does in Florida.
Oh, so you can go from the top though,
Yeah,
from the roof, from the attic, which sucks because you can only work on it at night more or less because you fucking die when the sun starts heating the roof up.
yeah, but it's not fully summer yet.
Hmm. No, you have no idea, bro. I've done attics before. It
Yeah,
just even if it's
yeah,
20
I
degrees
know.
outside, it's 35, 40 inside the roof.
So essentially, my living room. So you have the front door and you have a low wall. So
Hmm.
that is not what I'm counting with, but that's sort of inside the living room of open space. But from that wall to the other wall is 5.8 meters. And if I, as it stands right now, it's sort of a galley kitchen, which is from where the TV speakers are, is about 4 meters on one side, and then there's a dining room which is already open, and it's
Hmm.
about 6.5, 7 meters. It's about seven because it's about, let's see, what is 23 feet? Yeah, 7.1 meters. So the idea is to get rid of the wall of the galley kitchen and move the kitchen over and just not have that sort of wall there. So
Hmm.
it'll be 5.8 by 7 meters of living room, theater,
Nice.
uh, and yeah, and that'll be just for TV and beer lab shenanigans.
Nice.
And it opens straight outside to the pool, so that's also kind of nice. So,
Hmm.
I mean, but the room itself, because of that, because it's a meter and a half of like sort of entrance with like one of these typical American like low walls just for
Yeah, yeah, yeah. For
separating.
keys and shit to put on top of it.
No,
Yeah.
because it's like this wide. It's like,
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying. We had that. You just put keys and stuff on it, like a little tray and throw shit
yeah,
on it.
and then it's cats, and it's like,
Yeah.
that's
Oh
nowhere
yeah.
gonna work for
The
me.
cats will do their
I
number
may
on
just
us for
get rid
sure.
of that wall and put in some like double opening glass doors or something, right? So you have front door, glass door.
Hmm. Yeah, there's gonna be some renovating done for sure.
Yeah, and
Because
I mean, essentially, it's not enormous. It's nothing structural that's going to change.
are you gonna buy a whole roll of Cat 7? It's cheaper than buying it by patch cables and heaters.
Probably, but I still have a bunch of cables.
I would
Uh,
run Cat 7s in the new house if you got shit
I
opened up
have
and
a bunch
whatever.
of Cat 7.
You didn't pack those?
7, Cat 7,
Oh,
Cat
yeah, but that's not
7,
gonna
Cat
wire.
7,
That's not
Cat
gonna
7.
wire your house.
No, but it will wire the speakers.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Because don't forget, to get from my TV to the speakers over here, I had to go all the way round there into that speaker. That was
It's what, 30 meters almost,
25, yeah.
25
And
meters. Yeah.
and I took some slack, so I think I ordered 27 and a half, or made one 27 and a half meters.
So yeah, that's a lot.
So that plus I can now go straight up into like, because behind where the TV is where the washing machine and like a alley sort of thing is, and behind
Okay, so it's
there's
a 6-inch wall. Yeah, it's
and
deep wall.
and behind there is where the garage is.
Hmm.
So I this time I can go straight up into the wall like that, and
Drop it down.
yeah. So
Nice.
I can keep my biolabs on their own, quite simple, which is a preferred way to do it, I think.
Hmm. No, it's gonna look good, man. It's going to take time to install it properly, but the renos are going to take the most time, if anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like the kitchen is bad or unusable. It looks okay, but it's very much a kitchen from like the late 90s, early 2000s. And
Mm-hmm.
like you have a sort of island, but you have to walk around out of the kitchen, around the kitchen to get back to the kitchen island. So that's a bit weird, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'd rather like have it open and just like have two sort of islands parallel to each other.
Don't forget, you got lab ones in my storage locker still hang.
Yeah, I know. I still have to. We'll still have to figure out how to get those there. Will those fit? Oh no, those are in your storage locker.
Mm-hmm.
I'll drive down to Miami then to come and get them or something. Unless they're
That's
in the
not.
back
It
of your
won't
car.
be that far. No, they won't fit in my Audi. There's no fucking way.
Well, they fit in my Golf.
They fit in Nick's Golf. They won't fit in my car because they have to go up a little bit, and I have the trunk, so it doesn't let them go up. And I can't move the seat up. I've tried. There's no way. No way for these to fit in my Audi. And shipping them is insane. You got to come pick them up. Drive a Home Depot van all the way to freaking Florida. I mean, to Miami.
Or just rent a big ass car.
That's what I'm saying. If you rent a Home Depot van, you can make the trip in a day.
Oh, easy. It's like 4 hours away.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not exactly close, but it's not exactly like a day trip to.
Yeah, well, it's a day trip for there and back and hang out a little bit. That's basically it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, but I can leave after breakfast. We get lunch and do whatever, and I can be basically home before 10, and we still can still hang out for like 4 hours or whatever.
I'm gonna have to time it so that when you come in, you can help me with the 90s out of the locker. I'm gonna use your muscle for that for sure. Because I can't do them by myself. 50's
Yeah,
already too much. So
yeah, it's not fun. It's 90s especially. But at least you have the correct straps.
oh yeah, I got everything proper for them. So
Yeah.
I don't have an issue moving those things about. It's just getting them off the container is a pain in the butt, obviously.
But do you want to live in a high rise again, or just on the?
That's what I was thinking about. Maybe like if I live in a high rise, that there's more or less always a better security, having that equipment in the apartment than being in the house. But I'm also looking into, if I can rent out a house, then yes, because it's easier, right?
I mean,
The
price-wise, it
logistics-
doesn't change that much. You generally
No.
get more square footage.
Yeah, but the logistics are different, quite complex, because I can park the fucking container in my driveway if I rent out a house, and then just move everything in my own pace and accord. Where if it's you rent an elevator and blah blah, it's always it's an issue, right?
Yeah, but
And-
not only that, with 90s, do you just not want to be attached to people anymore?
No, that's one of the preferences that I would have. That if I want to, especially now, come in with if I'm gonna have to sell the theater, I'm gonna buy one there anyways. But I want to enjoy my music the way I want to enjoy my music that I used to. But
I mean, and even when you're not attached but close to people, because sometimes in America you see like houses 6 feet away from each other.
yes,
As long as you're not sharing walls and stuff, like you can go so much louder before people get annoyed, and I bet you could still annoy them.
Mhm.
But
Oh yeah, with the 90s for sure you can.
but it's not to the point where like you go to level 50 or whatever, and he's like, knock knock, it's so loud.
Yeah, no. Yeah, usually I go to complain when it's over 80.
Yeah, but again, that's because you're touching your neighbors on all sides, right?
Hmm.
Which is, a thing. And this is also why because this Florida has a lot of nice apartments. Like, I found so
does.
many apartments or condos or whatever you want to call them that were over 2,000 square feet, which is basically the size of a big ass European house as an apartment,
Hmm.
and the prices were inflated because of economic situations and that sort of thing. But it was reasonable compared to here. But then it's like, yes, it's nice for maintenance and that sort of thing, but you're attached.
Hmm.
And I'm already deadly afraid here of going listening to music and movies that I want to have my volume at.
Yeah. Yeah,
And the house
that's
we
one
have
of the
now
things.
is, I think the closest neighbor is 18 feet away, which is like 6 meters.
Yeah, you're fine.
Uh, so, yeah.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
I will touch my neighbors without their consent. We gotta respect
Yeah,
my authority.
that's right. But yeah,
So
I guess we'll see you
yeah,
on the other side.
dear people of BeoTalk watching, it's been an honor. Come join the Discords. Why did it close? Come join our Discord and keep up to date with everything. Everything is a bit up in the air and strange, but I'll still be on Discord and
Whatever media you can be on while out,
yeah,
basically.
it's just I don't know how things are gonna go from here on in. The good thing is we're supposed to have the house by the 27th of next month, so it's quite
That's
soon.
pretty fast. Yeah, it's not bad.
So
Yeah, even if we're back in June, July, it is what it is. We'll see how
yeah,
many viewers come back.
yeah, but I'll let people know, right? I mean, I have no clue how most of my life is going to turn out in the next 2-3 months.
Mm.
Like we have tentative plans, but like you never know.
Just
Uh,
like every war, man, every plan goes out the window as soon as the first bullet whizzes by your head. So you just
yeah,
gotta roll with the punches there too.
and then I mean, my girlfriend already has a full-time job, so
So at
uh,
least that's good.
it is, but it's also semi-complicating because you can't just on a Wednesday think, hey, let's drive down to Florida with all our stuff. No,
Hmm.
now we have to plan that around work and around what day she can get off, which is probably a Friday, and then we have to take the cats and everything with us as well, and
Hmm.
so it's all a bit like, hmm, would have been easier if we were both free, but I'm not complaining. It's just
Complicates it a
didn't
bit.
plan for this. Because I'm
Well,
super happy she has the job because it's basically her dream job.
just complicates the move. But you know
Yeah,
what? You'll make it work. You'll work it out. I'm certain of it.
and
Not too
also
concerned.
if you don't stop at all, it's 18 hours of driving.
Where? Oh yeah,
From,
from Wisconsin.
yeah, so it's not
Wow.
exactly like it's around the corner. Like that's a 2-day drive basically.
Yeah, that's far.
And yeah, so I hope the cats are okay with that. They were okay in the plane. So
Mm.
is it true that people only have like 10 days off in the US? Generally, yes, but
Hmm.
it's not the same for her. Although the thing that changes it is that you
Those are the
accumulate.
paid holidays, more or less, and you accumulate paid vacation too.
Yeah, and the thing is, she just started, right? So the accumulation of days is not. It's nothing.
Minimal. Yeah, yeah, it's nothing yet.
So, but her terms and conditions are quite good. I think after all is said and done, after a year of working there, she has something like 30 days a year off. And
Yes,
that's
2 weeks vacation plus paid, whatever. Yeah.
no, that's on top of
Oh, nice.
on top of the national holidays.
That's sweet.
Yeah. I mean, and I think 6 of those 30 are like personal days or like you
Hmm.
need to go to a doctor or whatever. Uh so yeah, I mean her it's her and her dream job and the benefits and stuff are really really good. You know, yes, for a
So,
lot of people in America, it is like you have on average 10 days off or something like that. But it also depends on your contract. I think a lot is changing, though. I think a lot of companies are seeing like this is not really sustainable if you want
mhm.
somebody to actually actively like working somewhere.
Yeah, because turnover costs more than having somebody with experience there and paying a little bit more to be there. So, but yeah, we'll see each other live once again in a few months. I take it, at least. Maybe Henrik will be able to pop in and we can stream through him as a BOTF podcast.
Yeah, something like that. Or you can stream on my channel. He's done that before. I'll just have to
Hmm.
give him the stream key.
Go from
Uh,
there.
yeah, and we'll see. And who knows? Well, maybe you'll be there before my house is even done.
I would love that. Since I would stop by on the way from here to fix and wire for you.
I have to plan that so somebody can pull cables.
Fuck you! You're pulling them with me, bitch. I'm not.
Yeah, I'm doing this
I already
on ground
know that
level.
I'm gonna be. I already know that I'm gonna be the one in the attic. So fuck off. What you
Yeah.
won't do for a friend, I guess, eh? Tabarnak. But you're buying the goddamn PPEs, man, because I ain't crawling in that fucking shit in shorts. There's no way.
Yeah, that'll be all right. Thanks everybody for the well wishes. Keep an eye on Discord, and we'll see where we go from there. Please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't yet already, because then you'll get the notification once we're back. And yeah, it's been a blast. It's been a blessing, and see you soon on the other side of the pond. Bye, everybody.
Cheerios. Bye.